So be perfect, just as your heavenly Father is perfect. Seems like a tall order, doesn't it? But think about it. Jesus doesn't say try to be or strive to be. No, he says be, which means it's achievable. Now I'm going to sidetrack a little bit here for a moment and ask you, how's your 2020 going so far? You know, what horse of the apocalypse are we on now? Let's see, we've had a pandemic, with quarantine, food shortages, riots, insurrections. I think we've gotten to the point of saying, I wonder what's next. Brothers and sisters, we are being overloaded with evil to the point where it seems almost impossible for good to win. We're being told that we can't worship in our churches while the slaughter of innocent babies continues at the abortion mills. We have to keep our distance and limit our capacities in our church while protesters are allowed to march in the streets side by side along with those who are telling us what to do. Because of a few bad apples, our police departments are being ridiculed, held at bay, and defunded, leading to chaos, looting, and burning of our cities. I'm not sure if you have heard or read a recent letter from Archbishop Vigano to President Trump. Archbishop Vigano was the apostolic nuncio to America when Pope Benedict was Pope. This letter is interesting, and I encourage you to read the entire thing. But I want to read to you just a few clips of his letter to President Trump. I think it says a lot of what's going on. His letter was dated June 7th, 2020, on Holy Trinity Sunday. He says, Mr. President, in recent months, we have been witnessing the formation of two opposing sides that I would call biblical: the children of light and the children of darkness. The children of light constitute the most conspicuous part of humanity, while the children of darkness represent an absolute minority. And yet the former are the object of a sort of discrimination which places them in a situation of moral inferiority with respect to their adversaries, who often hold strategic positions in government, in politics, in the economy, and in the media. In an apparently inexplicable way, the good are held hostage by the wicked and by those who help them, either out of self-interest or fearfulness. Now, Archbishop Vigano continues in his letter detailing the evil in the secular world. But later on in his letter, he allots to the trouble within the church. He says, although it may seem disconcerting, the opposing alignments I have described are also found in religious circles. There are faithful shepherds who care for the flock of Christ. There are also mercenary infidels who seek to scatter the flock and hand the sheep over to be devoured by ravenous wolves. It is not surprising that these mercenaries are allies of the children of darkness and hate the children of light. Just as there is a deep state, there is also a deep church that betrays its duties and forswears its proper commitments before God. So you may ask, Decon Eddie, why so much doom and gloom this early in the morning? Brothers and sisters, we are in a strange time, and we need to wake up and realize these aren't normal times. But Archbishop Vigano continues in his letter, giving us the answer to all this mess. He says, however, it is important that the good, who are the majority, wake up from their sluggishness and do not accept being deceived by a minority of dishonest people with unavowable purposes. It is necessary that the children of light, come together and make their voices heard. What more effective way is there to do this, Mr. President, than by prayer, asking the Lord to protect you, the United States, and all of humanity from this enormous attack of the enemy? Before the power of prayer, the deceptions of the children of darkness will collapse. Their plots will be revealed. Their betrayal will be shown. Their frightening power will end in nothing, brought to light and exposed for what it is, an infernal deception. So how does all this relate to our gospel today? Well, Jesus says, "You have heard it, that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your heavenly Father." Jesus tells us how to handle troubles in life, whether the small daily struggles we have or the big ones like we see in 2020. We, as children of light, must shine in this time of darkness. Now, have you ever tried to shine a flashlight in the middle of the day? It doesn't illuminate much, does it? Now, shine that same flashlight in the darkness of night, and it illuminates much more. We are that flashlight, and what we are experiencing is the darkness, and now is the time for us to shine. Now is the time for us to illuminate evil. Now is the time for us to love. Now is the time for us to pray. Now is time for us to be perfect as our Heavenly Father is perfect. God bless.